Welcome to Your Family's Health. This is Professor Joan Buckley and Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard.
Hello.
Of nursing, and we're both from nursing here at Nassau Community College. Your Family's Health is a program that focuses on healthcare issues, resources available to you here in Nassau County. On the show, we speak to experts from around the country to keep you up to date on current healthcare issues and trends that are occurring. And today we're going to be speaking to Larry Aaron. And he has a book out that's Zen and Scuba Diving. So if you want to know more about how to stay healthy in Nassau County, stay tuned for the next half hour to the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So welcome to the show, Larry Aaron.
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome,
it's a
Larry.
pleasure to be here and speaking with you.
Yeah. Can you give us, and I usually try to do this because you can introduce yourself much better than I can.
Sure.
But can you give us like a timeline of Larry Aaron, who he is, and how did you get to this book, Zen and Scuba Diving? Not that it isn't something that we think about now and then, but it's not something we think about all the time. And this is, it's really pretty interesting the way you put this together.
Well, thank you, ladies. Sure. Let me just give you a brief history of who I am and how I came to this. Many years ago, I was in the military in the 60s during the Vietnam War. Lucky I did not go over to Vietnam. I spent time here. But while I was on active service, I came across a book that just absolutely floored me. It was the most unusual reading that I had ever done. And the book was called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And the book really is a fabulous, fabulous story that's not about religion. There's nothing religious about it. It's about a spiritual journey. And it enlightened me in a fashion that I never even really anticipated. The book was a story, if you are not familiar with it, about how this wonderful life of luxury is transformed by a life of searching, and the searching leads to Siddhartha turning into the Buddha. And it is all about his experiences and what he goes through. So as many of us do in life, we go through many, many experiences. Well, this book was the experience that I did not even know was going to change my life. I liken it to, as we look at ourselves as a tree. And one day the tree grows a little bud of a branch. Not very significant, but as time goes on, the branch seems to pull away from the trunk of the tree and has a real beautiful feeling that it is something completely unto its own, but yet it is part of the whole tree as a living and breathing organism. So for me, this book became that bud of a life trek, as I call it, or a spiritual journey. And again, come back to the issue of spiritual versus religious. It is not that at all. So that book was a very, very important cornerstone in my life. And unbeknownst to me, it itself was tucked away in the back of my mind, and my life moved on. And as my life moved on, I moved into the world of advertising. I started off to become an illustrator, and segued into that great, great time of the creative 60s. I am really one of the original madmen. And don't put me in an institution as being a madman. But I really loved being in the creative world at that time. And what ended up happening was, as all things do, you take paths. We become involved with other people. I found my wife, my soulmate. She and I are married, as a matter of fact, this coming Wednesday for 48 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's my best friend. And so that's kind of like where my life began, as tying it back into Zen and the art of scuba diving, because it really started then.
Wow.
So I hope that gave you just a little bit of an understanding as how it happened.
You know, the one thing that in healthcare, and because we're both faculty for nursing, is we do stress with students the individual and everything that they bring to an experience in a hospital is exactly what you really put very, very well, is that things happen over time and they accumulate and they go into little compartments depending on where you're at. And that's perfect. Can you tell us what is Zen, though? What is Zen? For someone that's not listening and they're saying, this guy's lived his life, he's done this, he's done that. But what's Zen? What is Zen? How does that fit into the average?
Diving, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're all probably influenced by things that we don't see. And then we are influenced by that which we do see. You talk about health. Zen is a state of being that is very much like learning how to let go. If you can understand what I'm going to say, there's a wonderful word from the Japanese language called mushin, M-U-S-H-I-N. And the word means of no mind. When a person becomes one with everything, he really has to be one with no mind. Because if you end up learning something and that learning constantly is flowing through your mind, you're no longer opening yourself up to learning more things. As they look at things from a Zen perspective, it is open, it is clear, and Zen, and I am not a Zen Buddhist, I want to make that perfectly clear, Zen does not mean, and I come back to this before, as I said, it does not mean religion. It means to be able to look at something in clarity and being able to not allow all of the things that clutter your vision, and your vision is not just your eyes, it's your mind. Your mind is constantly being influenced by all of the stimuli around it. Mm-hmm. And so consequently, Zen is being able to let go of all of that cacophony of sounds, the overabundance of visuals that are streaming in, and certainly being able to not be involved with your iPhone. No reason it has to be an iPhone, but that smartphone. So it takes up 100% of your mind. I just heard a very, very interesting piece, and I won't tell you the program I heard it on, but that...
You can.
Yes, okay, it was on 60 Minutes.
Okay.
It was all about the fact that the technology companies today are not about helping you, they're about influencing you to stay addicted to the phone. That if you do not hear that ping, you've got to go to the phone and figure out, why haven't I been pinged? If you do not get an email, you've got to go to the phone and say, what other emails are there? And, of course, that becomes involved in all of the other aspects of the different apps that are on the phone. It's very, very sad. We've all, and I guess I'm part of that, but I certainly hold back on it. We are all Pavlovian responding to the phone. Why is it clicking? How come it's not clicking? How come I only got one click as opposed to 3 clicks? It's very, very interesting. So I bring you back to the Zen, and the Zen is very much a part of being able to let go. And, it's not easy.
So tell me, Larry, when you say Zen, letting go, the application there is that when you're doing the scuba diving, that it's almost a fearless approach to something that could be possibly scary to the average person. Tell me the connection there.
That connection is very important in the aspect of fear. Mm-hmm. There were two words, and they're probably interchanged by many, many people. That is fear and danger. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize this, but you have 100% control over fear. Fear is self-imposed. That doesn't mean that you can completely get rid of fears, but you have control over those fears. If fear takes over your life, then you're totally incapacitated. Learning how to control that and let go with Zen, and that's what I do, is certainly the other aspect of the many years of my martial arts training. When you are training in martial arts, the first thing that happens is you are very fearful. You don't know what to expect. You don't know who the person standing in front of you is. No matter whether you are emotionally comfortable or not, fear takes over your entire being. It takes many, many years of training to release that fear. Staying focused and clear, as is in the word I just used shortly a few moments ago, mushin, being of no mind, gives you the ability to let go and allow whatever is around you to participate in what you're doing. Scuba diving is 100% of that. I don't know if either of you have ever scuba dived before.
I've snorkeled. Does that count? I've snorkeled.
Snorkeling is a very, very wonderful first step to scuba diving.
But it did lead to a few fears.
Right.
Yeah, the fear of, oh my God, I'm going to run out of breathing.
Yes. Or I'm getting a little far from the boat, or the reef has ended and I'm still swimming out.
Right.
No, but Larry, I think that this is very applicable to many things that we do that are scary or challenging. And, when you talk as it applies to health, it really does. It fits so many different things that patients even experience in hospitals, or even what we experience in our everyday lives. But we're going to talk more about that.
Oh, sure.
Okay, after the break, we'll get back into a little bit how it applies. You're listening to YFP on the Voice of Nassau Community College at 90.3 WHPC. This is Dr. Cook-Garard. I'm with Professor Joan Buckley, and we will continue talking with Larry Aaron about Zen and scuba diving after the short break.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
WHPC. Welcome back to Your Family Health. This is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard, and I'm with Professor Joan Buckley, and we'll welcome back our guest, Larry Aaron, about Zen and scuba diving.
So now, Larry, I have a question for you, because you talked about fear before the break.
Yes.
And we are going to try to relate this to people in the hospital, and I think Jeanine started to bring it up. What you're experiencing, fear, occurs, and you have learned how to identify things that cause the fear and whatever, and make it copable. But the one thing that in the book, I noticed that a lot of it was about the breath and breathing. Let me tell you, you hold your breath, and you can't come up to the surface fast enough. It's scary. So there you have this compliment. The fear is perpetuated by not getting a breath.
Yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about, fear is usually it's an event. It's something we know could be harmful, but sometimes it is unfounded.
It's paralyzing,
Yeah. But now the breath. How did you connect the breath, which is obviously a physiological component, or are you referring to breath in a different way?
Well, I'm going to put the breath in two aspects. You're 100% right. But let me talk about breathing for a moment. We've all heard of meditation, and meditation is all about learning how to control your breath. In controlling your breath, what happens is you really control your body. We all know that as anxiety weighs on everything we do, you start to swell up with all of this hesitation, and you start to breathe faster and quicker. And what tends to happen is and this is really the truth, as the doctor can certainly confirm that, the quicker you breathe, the less oxygen you take in. And in doing so, the more you end up finding